Hey, what is going on, everybody? So we recently had our nerfs posted, right? There wasn't that much of a change, to be honest. I haven't been really using the newer cards since I feel like you could use old decks to compete with them. And actually, I think that a lot of people agree as well. Well, today I have 5 decks that you can go ahead and use so that you can go ahead and go up the ladder towards Legends. The other thing that I do want to mention that I think is important is that if you click in the search bar here and you type in refund, you'll see all the cards that were nerfed. If there's any cards in here that you're currently not using, I do suggest that you go ahead and disenchant them, as you'll be able to get the full cost for the card, which you can build later on if you really need to, right? Let's say we get rid of it for 400. Now we have 400 in here, and we can use it later on if for whatever reason we need to use this card again, or maybe we need to build other cards, right? As you can see here, I'll be focusing on these 5 decks here. There's a few cards that are missing, but I will be collecting them as I go on. So yeah, make sure you do that. Type in refund and get your refund going. All right, so the first deck that we're going to review is Dummy Warrior. You may have seen a similar build already, since this is basically an older deck. It's pretty simple. Basically what you're going to want to do is use your testing dummy's death rattle to do as much damage as possible to your opponent, and then you're going to use other cards to supplement that effect or re-trigger that effect. So let's review the current build. We have Slam at 2, deal 2 damage, draw a card, simple. Crazy Alchemist helps you to swap the attack and health of a minion. Part Scrapper, lose up to 5 armor, your next mag costs that much less, which helps you to summon obviously your testing dummy. Quality Assurance, draw 2 taunt minions. Well, guess what, this one has taunt, so yeah, you're good to go. Safety Goggles are good if you have no shield. Easy 6 armor with 0 cost. Shield block, again, you're trying to protect yourself while summoning the testing dummies, so you can also draw a card as well. And then Dummy Warrior decks are going to be using the all you can eat, so you can keep drawing. Again, testing dummy, basically this deck revolves around this, which is why you're using everything you can to draw them and summon them. Boom Wrench, you can basically use one and then use another one to trigger the death rattle, right? Which was going to help you with your testing dummy. Mixologist, create a custom potion, draw a card, deal damage to your opponent, destroy your own dummy, etc. Recommend deck, choose a friendly mech, summon a copy of it that attacks a random enemy, then dies. Guess what? You get a 4/8, plus you get the death rattle effect. So this is a great card, and it's only 3. At least a Navigator, if your deck started with 10 cost cards, different whatever, craft a custom location. This can help you in order to summon your dummy as well and get additional trigger effects. Lord Xavius, obviously for discovering your testing dummies. You can also discover other minions and give them special effects, right? Dark gifts. That way it's more potent. Or imagine even getting the testing dummy with Reborn. That would be great. Carnivorous Cubicle, you want to use it on your testing dummy to destroy it, trigger its effect, and then at the end of your turns, you keep summoning them. Hopefully this doesn't die, since you will have taunt on the field. Chemical Spell, you basically use it to get an easy summon for your testing dummy. And then one of the most potent cards in the deck, we have Endbreaker Umbra, which is going to be triggering all the death rattles that have been activated, well, up to 5. So hopefully that will for sure win you the game. Inventor Boom, same thing. Insane, you get to summon your testing dummy and attack, plus obviously you can get the death rattle effect. Ziliax, basically a good killer of opponent cards, right? Protection, lifesteal, everything. And then finally Tortola, easy tank that buffs up. So yeah, that's the deck. Pretty simple. I think that most people should have a lot of these cards, maybe a few here and there that you might have to craft. Okay, so our next deck is Agamagan Warlock. Basically what you want to do is trigger death rattles in order to do a lot of damage, and then copy Agamagan. Therefore you can go ahead and use this effect to deal damage to your opponent by using a strong or high mana card. And then yeah, you keep repeating this, that way you can go ahead and take out your opponent. So let's look at the cards. Cursed Catacombs, you discover a minion from your deck, make it temporary. If you can discover, let's say, Agamagan, then you can summon it and then deal damage to your opponent. Remove 1 durability from a friendly location. 2, restore a health. So you restore a health, and you typically remove 1 durability from this right here, the cavern. That way you can go ahead and summon your Ultralisk. Demonic Studies, discover a demon, and it helps you to summon a demon easier. Fracture Power, destroy 1 of your mana crystals. In 2 turns you get 2, so kind of, you know, to get you ready and set up. Soul Searching, discover a card from your deck. Spend 5 corpses to copy it. So if you can discover Agamagan, then you'll have 2, and all you need to do is spend 5 corpses. Hellfire, deal 3 damage, get rid of the board, and maybe even win a game with 3 damage. We'll see. Night is Warm, draw 2 Zerg cards. They cost 1 less, just to kind of get that going as well. Ultralisk Cavern, you're going to be having it on the field to deal 1 damage to all enemies, whether you kill the monsters, the enemies, or you get rid of Divine Shields. Eventually, once the Death Rattle does trigger, you get your 8/8 with Rush. And then you got Elisa Navigator, that's going to be helping you create a location that can hopefully help you with your current build, right? We have Eternal Layover, you give all minions reborn, then destroy all minions. This is really good for triggering death rattles, but also getting rid of your enemy's board. Nightmare Lord Xavius, typical, discover a monster and try to give it the best dark gift that is good for you at the time. Dark Marrow is going to trigger a death rattle twice, and then if you summon a death rattle minion, you destroy it so it triggers its effect. Puppet Master, you're going to be using this to get as many monster copies as you can when you draw. Hopefully you might get lucky and you get an Agamagan. And then Bob the Bartender, you either freeze or you choose to get a copy from your deck, a minion that is, and that way you get an additional 2 copies. Kerrigan, you summon 2 Hive Queens that will keep feeding your hand with Hive monsters. So yeah, or Zerg monsters, and then you get the nice effect to deal 3 damage per Zerg. Shaladrasil, you use this to buff up your monsters, get rid of enemy annoying minions, deal 5 damage. Depending on how you play it, whether it's early or late, it's a good card to have. Firak or Firak is also pretty good, unless you get like the worst effects where your hand keeps getting full and they keep burning your cards, stuff like that. But typically you use it to get rid of their board and maybe do a little bit of damage. Ysera, you gain 3 mana crystals, plus you get an additional maximum of 5 mana, which you are going to need since we do have a lot of high cards. Agamagan is your basically win card here. You keep using it to deal damage to your opponent. And then finally Table Flip to get rid of your enemy's monsters. Therefore you can go ahead and do damage. All right, this next deck is a little different from what we are used to, and it's actually a little bit unique. Basically what you're going to be doing is swarming the field, right? Just summon your monsters, do damage, typical stuff. That's how you play Hearthstone. But the difference here is that you're going to get cards to heal enemies, and if you use it in combination with the Wilted Shadow here, this will be able to actually attack your enemy. So for example, if you, where is it at here? Nope. Where are you? Okay, here we go. So for example here, the Careless Crafter, you get 2 0-cost bandages that restore 3 health. Well, if you use those on your enemy while this is out, then you can go ahead and do quite a bit of damage. So yeah, it's pretty simple. You should have, I think, most of these cards as well. Maybe you might have to make a repackage, but everything else you should be able to have. Chilling might also be something that you might have to craft. But yeah, simple. So you summon Catch of the Day, summon a worm for your opponent, but you have a 3/3 card, deal 3 damage, get rid of something, heal a minion for 2 health, draw a card, plus 2 attacks, so you have some shield on the board. Same thing with a Noyotron, just protect yourself. Bird watching, discover something and boost his attack. Thrive in the Shadows, you get to discover a spell. There's quite a few that you can use, but you know, repackage is a good one. Resuscitate as well, so you can resummon your minions. And then we have our Careless Crafter. I kind of already went over that. Chillin' Vol'jin. You swap 2 minion stats. So if your opponent has a really strong monster, you can, for example, swap its stats with this Wilted Shadow and then knock them out. Rest in peace. Each player summons their highest cost minion that died this game. So if this one died already, you can resummon it. And same thing, keep your combo going. And then we have Trusty Fishing Rod, which is going to help summon your 1 mana cost minions and then be able to annoy your enemy basically. Grave Dawn Sunbloom, draw 2 cards. If you use a spell already, this is going to cost 2 less. So nice little draw. Sleepy Resident gets to make all your enemies fall asleep for a turn, including your own, but that's okay. You're going to use this tactically, right? Tactfully. Resuscitate again, resummon some of your annoying minions and give them reward. Plus, you can also get this, for example, to use as death rattles, right? Keep your combo going. Repackage, get rid of your enemy's board, especially if they have really strong cards. And then finally, your winner, chicken dinner, Wilted Shadow. Yeah, pretty much it. And finally, we have Cycle Rogue. It again uses a lot of the usual cards that it uses in any deck, so you might get the hang of this pretty quickly. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So Cycle Rogue, basically what you're going to be doing is summoning strong monsters plus doing damage as you draw Incendies cards or eruptions. So yeah, staples, preparation, right? The next spell you cast cost 2 less. Shadow Step, return a minion to your hand, cost 2 less. That way you can re-trigger its effect. Wisps is a 0/1/1, easy summon, no cost. Platosaur, you draw a card. Death Rattle, you discard it. So the gist of this is to draw your card, use it so you don't discard anything unless you need to, I guess. A Space Rock Collector, 1, and then reduces your combo by 1, so that's a good effect. Spell damage +1, which is going to be useful when using a spell that does damage, right? For example, Incendies Eruptions. Plus, you get to draw a card when it dies. Cultist Map, discover a card from your deck. If you play this turn, also pick one of the others. So yeah, you're going to use this when you have quite a bit of mana, so you can get multiple uses or effects going on. Eat the Imp, destroy a friendly minion to draw 3 cards, which you can use on something with Death Rattle, or just destroy something so that you can go ahead and get your 3 cards going. Moonstone Mauler, you're going to shuffle the 3 asteroids to deal 2 damage later on. If you have Blood Mage Stalnos, so go ahead and do 1 more damage. And then now we have O Manager, deal 2 damage. If it's combo, you get a coin as well. You have 2 of those. Twisted Web Weaver, whenever you replay a card, you get to draw a card. Web of Deception, similar to Shadow Step, you go ahead and return a minion and then summon a 4/4 spider. Dubious Purchase, draw 3 cards and destroy random enemy minions, which is pretty good. Ever Burning Phoenix, cost 1 less for each card you play this turn. Death Rattle, return this to the hand at the end of your turn. So for example, you might see yourself using this, returning it, and then summoning it again. That way you could draw cards. Plus you get to just keep resummoning it as long as you've used enough cards during 1 turn. Master Mass Merchant, discover a hero card from the past in order to obviously help you out. Incendies, you get your eruptions, shuffle 5 of them, and then hopefully you keep this alive enough for it to do quite a bit of damage. And then finally your Playhouse Giant, costs 1 less for each card you've drawn this game, which should be quite a bit based on the cards that we have read. But yeah, that's pretty much it. These are the top 5, or not the top 5, but these are the 5 decks that I feel you can use to get into Legends. There's obviously more decks, as you can see here, that you can use. There's not a lot of quest decks that you may have noticed. I feel like the newest expansion really didn't do justice. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to use. So go ahead and choose whatever you like. Also, maybe whatever is already available to you. I'll be going and making videos on these decks or other decks, not only to talk about their builds, but show you some of the gameplay later on. And I'll also be showing maybe 1 or 2 videos of old decks that I still recommend you use, as they are pretty strong and can actually take on these meta decks as well. But yeah, Hopefully you liked this video. Consider subscribing. If you did, check out the description box to learn more about the channel, and I will see you on the next one.